Why, hello there once again. I am Crimulus. I am back for another video already. Yes, don't get used to it. I do have probably at least one more video planned, but I'm not expecting to have any kind of regular content on the channel. I just had a backlog of things that I thought I wanted to share with the world. This is one of them. And this is actually an update video. One of my favorite videos and one of my favorite inventions is my composter filter. And it's a contraption that not everyone needs in their world. The idea behind it is that you have some kind of storage system and anything that makes it all the way through. Let's say you have your carrot filter is overflowing. You just want to compost anything that's compostable and let the rest of the stuff go into your overflow. That's the idea. That's something that's useful for me. I shared it with the world because I thought other people would find it useful, and they have. It's kind of a niche thing, but it's also a very bulky contraption. So I have a long-term world, which is where I'm standing right now. I'm actually in a backup of it right now. This is from a couple of years ago. But my vision for this world is I want every block to be intentionally placed. I want every hole to be filled. I want it to be completely filled out and complete. And I was just building up a lot of unfinished projects or things that were half complete. And I have been on a spree to clean that up. And part of that was I wanted to put my composter filter here in my storage area. So all of my bulk filters come into these areas here. I'm going to have to expand soon with some of the new blocks. But the idea is I have items in the top here and shulker boxes come in the bottom. So once these get full, then it goes back to shulker loaders behind there. But more importantly to me was behind this space, there's a lot of just unutilized area. And that really bothers me. I don't like that. So this is where items that come into the sorting system come in. They start in the hoppers up there and they eventually end up in that bubble column and then end up in the overflow chests. And I thought it'd be really cool to be able to see my composter filter in action rather than have it just tucked away. And moreover, I had this whole area underneath my base here. Let me get a second to go down there. Oops, that was already open. I had this whole area under my base. This is just like industrial overflow. And I thought that was kind of cool for a while. And I could just tuck away farms down here. But then I started to feel like this is a lifetime world. I want everything to be intentional. And so you can see I've got my composter filter tucked away down here. And you can see how gargantuan behemoth this thing is. But it works. It's expensive and complex. It's got a clock and all kinds of observers and all this stuff. But it works. But I wanted to put it in that area that we were just looking at. And the place that I decided on was right here. And we'll go into pop into FreeCam really quick. I don't actually have the space here to put that without changing stuff on the outside of my base. So I decided to pop into my creative test world and see if I can improve it. So this is where I've tested a lot of things over the years, but this is the original composter filter right here. And I just wanted to try, right? It's very expensive. And I played around with it, and I was able to knock it down to this, which is significantly more compact. And I thought, this is not included. This is a test thing. So just this right here. So we knocked it all the way down from this behemoth, which is, it's kind of hard to see maybe against the stuff in the background, down to this. And I just wanted to share this with people because I thought this is a lot easier to build and would work probably with more storage systems and wouldn't feel like as much overkill. And if not, it just makes me happy to put this out to the world as well. And I'll walk you through really quick how it works, but I'll actually build it for you, just so you can see kind of how it works. The gist of it is exactly the same. The primary unit here is we have a dropper right here, a composter that a piston is moving back and forth, and the way that it filters is if the composter is under the dropper, which is the dropper tries to drop the item into the composter first, and if it's successful, then it composts it. Then the piston pulls the composter away, and the dropper fires again, and it drops down into the hoppers below, and then just ends up in the overflow. And so there are 4 of those units next to each other. Then on top, the next important piece is you have a hopper line that's feeding in. And this hopper line is locked using this mumbo jumbo contraption that's used in a lot of super smelters. So the items come in, and as soon as the item ends up in this hopper, this torch turns off, unlocking all 4 of these hoppers. And if up to 4 items, so maybe only 1 item came in, so only this item will drop down. But if there will only be one item at most in each of these 4 hoppers. When this unlocks, these hoppers pull that down, and then it drops down one more and into those droppers. That same mechanism powers this perfectly timed signal right here. The comparator puts signal into this redstone dust, into this 4-tick repeater, into another 4-tick repeater, and then it powers this redstone wire, which powers the sticky pistons. So that signal will stay on for 4 ticks, the length of this repeater, but it'll also power these note blocks. And this observer will detect that. The observer takes, I think it's actually slightly less than 1 tick, but it takes 1 tick. So when the pistons fire, exactly when the composters arrive, these droppers fire. So this observer powers this dropper, and then this observer powers this dropper and this dropper. So when that happens, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like when they're forward. So the composter goes forward, the droppers try to fire, this observer powers the dropper right as the composter arrives. Then after 4 ticks, the redstone wire turns off, which unpowers the pistons. It also unpowers the note blocks, which the observers detect. And so once the composters have returned, the droppers fire again. And so items that aren't compostable come out in the chest. Items that are compostable go in the composter. And this is held for long enough to, when this composter gets filled with bone meal, there's enough time for the hopper to pull it out before the cycle repeats. And I'm not sure the exact math. I tried to work it out, but I don't think there's enough time. I tried this with 3 hoppers, three modules, 3 units, and I couldn't get it to work fast enough. And I didn't work out the math, but I do not think it's possible for this cycle to happen in the time that it takes to move only 3 items through hoppers. So if you need to go faster than this, you just build multiple modules. So you split your items. Let's say you build 2 of these facing one another, and then you split your items between the 2 inputs. So let's jump into how to build this thing. I'll be in creative, but the first thing you're going to start with is your output hopper. So this is a hopper, and let's go ahead and put a chest. So everything that comes out of here is going to go into this chest. All right, so you're now going to have 4 hoppers going into that, and then 4 hoppers going into those. Now these don't have to necessarily point exactly this direction as long as each hopper eventually goes into this chest. Above this, you're going to put a composter on one side of the hoppers like this. It doesn't really matter which side, but you want it to start on the same side as the sticky pistons that you put in there. So the next thing we're going to do is put sticky pistons. We're going to build this the same orientation as it was in my test world, but you can mirror this and it would be fine. And then the next thing you're going to do is put note blocks above 2 of those sticky pistons. You're going to put a solid block. I use stone bricks for my redstone, but you can use any solid block you choose, as long as it can be powered by redstone. And then we're going to put redstone dust along the top like this. Next, we're going to put a solid block here. It doesn't have to be a slab, but I like to do those for redstone blocks that are necessary to hold redstone, but don't serve a redstone function. And then we're going to put a repeater here on 4 ticks. Then we're going to put a solid block next to it, another slab here, and another repeater on 4 ticks. We're going to put a solid block here with a redstone dust on top. And then we're going to put a solid block here and a solid block here with a comparator going into it and a redstone torch on this side. Coming out this way, we're going to put a slab here. Again, it's not powering anything. It can be a solid block, but I just choose not to build things that way. And then we're going to run 4 solid blocks out here with redstone dust on top. This is the line that locks the hoppers. Okay, below here, we'll put a temporary block. We're going to get our droppers facing down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove that. We're going to put observers here. I guess I could have put that observer first. Doesn't really matter, however you want to do it. Then hoppers going down into each of these, and hoppers going into those hoppers, and then finally a line of hoppers pointing that direction. This is your input feed. So we're going to put items in a chest. This is our input. We'll put items in that chest, and they'll go through this dropper line or hopper line, and kick off the system. And this is it. Now, one thing I will advise is you need some kind of block. If you saw in my test world, items can, because of the randomness of droppers, items can sometimes come out of the system. So it's good to wrap it with something that keeps them from falling out so the hoppers can pick it up. So something like that. It can be any block, really. I think trapdoors should work fine if that looks nicer for you. This is the whole system. First, I'm going to show you how this works. We're going to grab a stack of carrots and a stack of, I don't know, whatever else we want, spruce wood. We're going to stick this in this chest, and we're going to watch this thing work. Now, they're not going in here in a... Oops, we need to make this just a dot. Otherwise, it powers this block and powers this hopper. Alternatively, you can also make this a slab, which I'm going to go ahead and do just to show that it's only supporting something. It's not actually serving a function. But this, if this is a slab, this can be either way, but I'm going to do both just so you don't make that mistake as well. So now we're going to put 64, and you'll see items start filtering through. This blinks every time 4 items go through. The composters are going forward. The droppers are firing each time, and items should be coming out of the chest, and we should see bone meal coming in here soon. I forget how many carrots it takes to make a bone meal. It prioritizes the wood first, but we got 4 pieces of bone meal out and our 64 spruce wood, as we expected. So that is the updated composter filter. I am really proud of this invention. It's very useful to me, and it's one of those things that it's really rewarding to have a need for something and then create it, and then have a need to compact it and find a way to do that. I find that very satisfying. It's one of the best reasons I have for playing the game. So I hope you find it useful too. If not, there's no real loss there, but you now know about this in case you ever do need it. So I have been Crimulus. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, P.S. I forgot to show you what it looks like now. Let's grab some compostable items. So this is the area now. Items come up here. This is a chest buffer for items that come in. And I can just demonstrate how items come into the composter filter. Very cool. You might see a bone block come up out of here. Yay, there went one.